Everyone,
Can you hear now?
And the CEO of Kelly, and I would like to talk to you about digital therapeutics. Digital therapeutics represent a new treatment modality in which software applications are used as therapeutic interventions to prevent, manage, and treat medical conditions. The most important subset of digital therapeutics is prescription digital therapeutics. And these software programs go through clinical trials and regulatory review, similar to a traditional medication or medical device. I'd like to share with you some of the leading companies in this area. The chronic disease management, mental health, neurology, oncology are main areas, and these are the companies in each category. I think it would be interesting to just look at briefly to some of the product. And from Achille, the Endeavor RX is a FDA-approved video game for treating kids with ADHD. The other product is from Mahana. It's an FDA-approved mobile app for treating IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And the other product from Big Health, it's a product to treat anxiety, and another product they have is to treat insomnia. What is interesting about Big Health is Sleepio is covered by some insurer already. And also some employers provide Sleepio as an employee health benefit. And that's pretty rare. That's very interesting and also rare. Now, what these three products that I just showed you have in common is they all provide and use cognitive behavior therapy or CBT. And we know that cognitive behavior therapy is pretty effective in treating depression, anxiety disorder, alcohol disorders, and eating disorders, PTSD, and OCD. Now, all of the digital therapeutic company, they don't provide CBT, and some of them, such as Proper Health, it's a connected medicine and patient management, patient engagement program, and for asthma patient, and they have been very successful in improving adherence among the patient, as well as helping the physician to adjust the treatment plan. Proper Health is a very good example of showing how a connected medicine, a connected device, basically, an existing drug, and a digital approach, software, can really improve the outcome for the patient. Let's talk a little bit about the investment in this domain. As you can see, there is a jump between 2019 and last year, which is substantial. And also what is also substantial is some of the round and amount of funds some of these companies have been able to raise. Pear is a good example, $284 million. It's Space, $215 million, and Biopharma is about $143 million. And some of these companies are already publicly traded. Once you talk about the investment, you also would like to know about the business model. Now, this is an emerging area of digital health. And lots of companies, I would say the majority of them, are trying the different business model. And I have some example for you here. Some companies have decided to get FDA approval and have a FDA regulated product, and then go on the market and provide their product as a standalone medication product, RX product, exactly the same way a pharma would do when they have a new drug for the market. Now, some have decided to not get FDA approved, but combine their product with FDA regulated medication. An example of that is to combine their product with a drug which has substantial side effects, and maybe the digital approach can address this side effect. And I think there are a few examples of that. The other example is some companies have decided to not get FDA regulated, and they would like to use a doctor prescription to provide their product to the patient. Again, as you can see, there are a few here. There are examples, and that also shows that there is no one-fits-all model yet. And as you can see, of course, the ultimate goal is to attract the attention of the health insurer and get their product covered. This is really the dream of any company, is to be reimbursed by a health insurance. Now, what are the clinical and economy outcomes of prescription digital therapeutics? Actually, there is an important contrast between US and Europe. In the US, only 27% of prescription digital therapeutics have been published, have published the result of the clinical studies. Another important point is there is a confusion between treating a condition and addressing the symptoms of the condition. I think this is a very important point to talk about because as it's obvious, I would say, when you treat a condition, it's not always, doesn't mean that you address a symptom, or if you address a symptom of a condition, it doesn't mean you treat the condition. And there are a couple of products out there that claim to treat a condition. And I think this is very important, especially if you want to get insurance coverage. You have to be very clear on that. In Europe, it's slightly different. They have their HDA, which covers safety assessment. You have to come up with a pretty good safety assessment information, clinical effectiveness, and economic evaluation, which is very interesting. Is basically cost effectiveness analysis or cost utility analysis. And of course, they also required ethical analysis. Now, about regulation and reimbursement, in the US, we know that FDA is encouraging and actually accelerating the review and approval of this kind of product, software as a treatment product. But the challenge remains on the reimbursement side. While some insurance companies are very interested and they are closely watching these areas, some payers do not anticipate yet covering software as a treatment for another couple of years. Again, outside the US is not exactly the same. There are a few products that are already covered by health insurers. And as an example, UK, Germany, France, and Japan, which has 2 products already covered by the health insurance. I think that may be related also about the way Europe and actually Japan required the data, the evidence on each product. Let's talk a little bit about what we do, what exactly Kali is. We have been one of the first company to target digital therapeutics in ophthalmology. And our core, I would say our mission has been to monitor and manage eye disease in the world. And what is very important is, and despite the fact that effective medication are available in the world today to treat some of these eye disease, there is a huge number of people who either don't take their medication, and the one who also take their medication but still continue to lose their sight. And we did that for almost 4 years. We have one of the largest database on understanding adherence, understanding why people don't take their medication internationally. And we realized there is a real need. There is a need beyond just managing and monitoring, because patient is really looking for a more convenient way to treat their condition, their eye condition. And that's why we decided to develop a digital therapeutic to treat blinding eye disease. Starting with myopia and glaucoma. Myopia is a short-sightedness, and glaucoma is a blinding condition, second cause of blindness in the world. And what's happening is the pressure inside the eye increases and causes the retina somehow to die. And we would like also, we're addressing this condition. Now let's talk a little bit about myopia. There is a huge number that I'm showing you today. This is, in 2050, 5 billion people will be affected by myopia. This is huge, but these are the projections. We already have about 2 billion people with myopia in the world. And why this is a big deal? Because high myopia can cause irreversible damage to visual acuity and is also associated with blinding condition, pathology. It's a real global health concern. It's not just about wearing a pair of glasses. Myopia can be progressive. Now, what are the solution, the correction we have today? Of course, we have the traditional approach. You have laser surgery, refractive surgery, contact lens, eyeglasses. These solutions correct your visual acuity, but they don't stop or slow the progression of myopia. And recently, some major pharma have started to look at a pharmacological approach, actually, an eye drop medication approach to that. And they would like to use, some of them are doing some study and are about to receive FDA approval for that, is using an existing drug, which is atropine. And in the low doses, the study have shown that they may be able to slow the myopia. Another company have developed some special lenses. They can also, the study have shown that they can also slow the progression of myopia. But again, both, one requires special wearing glasses. The other is a drug, is an eye drop medication. And we believe, again, that there is an urgent need for a convenient solution with minimal side effects and long-term safety for the patient. And that's why our solution is a software that reproduce and combine the effect of both eye drop and special lenses into a single digital solution. I'm going to briefly explain how it works, but again, I'm not going to give too much of the detail here. We are able to slow the progression of myopia by expanding a retinal layer without medication or surgery. We use image input designed to push the retina forward toward the image plane and slow the progression of myopia. Again, we don't use any invasive way or mechanical way to do that. We use image-based approach. It's a digital approach. And we have done some pilot study. We can show very promising result with our technique. Now, what's the product? It's not invasive. We have designed a product to be used by children and young adults without supervision. And the therapeutic content is delivered by a smartphone and viewed through a headset viewer. Basically, all you need is a smartphone and a low-cost headset viewer. And personal session every day for a few minutes are remotely monitored for a few weeks. And again, the pilot study have been very promising result, showing that the myopia was in fact, we were able to slow the progression. We have lots of study about that and science-backed, and we have also other product. We are working on it. I mentioned the myopia, the first one. We have already a full product ready to go for glaucoma, which is actually a predictive tool to know, to really identify high-risk patient. This is a very important information for the physician who treats a glaucoma patient, and we are working on a solution for glaucoma to treat glaucoma and reduce the pressure. As I mentioned, glaucoma is caused by high pressure in the eye in most of cases, and some cases actually don't have pressure, but again, we can lower this pressure and save this vision of the patient with our softer approach. The future of prescription therapeutics, it's very exciting because it's a growing segment. It's I can personally, I'm very excited about that because I can see the value and the outcome for the patient. They can complement or even compete with existing pharma drugs, and it's fine. It's very fine. Easily scale, can be used anytime, anywhere. Big pharma are entering into this space. They have seen the value that this kind of approach can bring to their existing drug. Investment has has increased, including by pharma, not only venture capital fund, and also pharma investing. I think the main challenge remained health insurance coverage, but I believe what is very important in order to have, to really convince them to cover our product is to provide high quality data and show that the product works and we can save people life or save people's sight. And in that case, I believe insurance will cover our product. I think that was my last slide. I appreciate the time. And if you have any questions.